Hello guys, I'm back from another video, and I'm finally back from my whole, rest week, kind of, because, I have to reschedule, my release date for, for this What If, but either way, because I'm gonna be making it pretty early, aka this time, well, why not? So anyway, continuing on, I'm gonna be talking about a brand new What If, in this case, what if Deku was reincarnated into high school DxD. So, I've been actually wanting to plan on making this What If for a while now. For several reasons. One of them is because when I recently, gotten Wattpad, well, I started becoming interested in a certain group, aka the Espadas from Bleach. And because of that, I wanted to make a What If about them. But because of you guys, I really wanted to add a vote system this time again. So I decided to pick, two different, powers for Izuku. In this case, the Espadas, all 10 of them, including Yami, which, Yami is one of my least favorites, sort of. Right next to Noitora, but still, they're pretty powerful. Especially Yami, seriously. But when all of you decide to go for, the ghouls, or at least the powers of, the ghouls from, Tokyo Ghoul, well, I sort of became a little bit, stunted after that. And after a bit of thinking of some ideas, well, this is the What If then. So yeah, let us talk about the What If, shall we? So, we go to a different perspective. In this case, Bakugo. Bakugo is currently, well, let's just say in shock. Let's go to a little flashback. So, during that fateful day, Bakugo was currently bullying Izuku, still pretty much whimpering, saying, I told you he's weak. After all, he is quirkless, as one of them would say this. You're right. As he would basically grabs Izuku with the help of his, quirk. In this case, I'm just gonna be calling them moldy fingers, because it literally allows him to basically, control his fingers in unnatural ways. Imagine, Jake from, what is that called? Yeah, Adventure Time. And if you don't know what's Adventure Time, well, it's one of the classics. You can't tell me otherwise. It's one of my favorite shows growing up. Anyway, after grabbing Izuku by the hair, he would say, Hey, quirkless. As he would say, Stop. Kachan, please tell them to stop. As he would say this, why would I listen to you, you damn quirkless? After saying that, he would basically punch him right in the face with explosions, basically propelling him into into a wall, causing a big splat, as blood would come over, all over his face, as he would say this. I think it's better for you to jump off the roof and do a swan dive. After all, you might get a quirk in your new life. After saying that, he would start laughing. After leaving with the rest of his quote-unquote friends, or in this case lackeys, Izuku would start crying and would start running away. Back to the present. After seeing this, Bakugo would just look at the body, the dead, mangled body of his so-called best friend, Izuku. Izuku's just laying there, motionless, because after he's told him that he should swan dive off the roof, he actually did it. He actually jumped off the roof and killed himself. He would start crying, saying, Shit. He would start crying, saying, Shit, I'm sorry, nerd, please come back. He would say, Please. After saying that, several of the people would start looking at Bakugo, and one of them would say, he's the one who did it. Everybody would start blaming him. And let's just say the media was not really happy. When, Izuku's mom heard about Izuku's death, well, let's just say she was really not happy as well. And now really much hates Bakugo. And because of that, let's just say his life has never been that good ever since. So, let's go to a different perspective again. In this case, Izuku. Izuku was woken up in a different place. Somewhere that resembles a broken down hospital. It seems like a hospital, but all run down, and several of the tools that were somewhat bloody, which kind of concerned him, were almost rusted to the point that they seem a bit, a few years old. As when you looked at his chest, he would see that there's several stitches, saying to himself, "What the hell happened to me?" After saying that, he would look over and would see a man. A man with whitish hair and a dark red eye. More specifically, his eye, or in this case his pupil is basically blood red, while the rest of his, eye is basically just pitch black. He seems to be wearing a simple mask, or in this case, a half mask, kind of. It basically covers, a bit of his face, except for his, his reddish, darkish eye, as he would say this. "So you're awake." As Izuku would say this. "Who are you?" After saying that, he would start stepping away, as he would say this. "Oh, don't worry. I just wanted to save you. After all, you, kid, I can see a great person in you. And I want you to, stand up for me." As he would say this. "Why? Why did you save me? I'm quirkless." As he would say this. "Shh. Don't call yourself a worthless, quirkless person. I see a person that's worthy of becoming a hero. Unlike those people who believe themselves as calling themselves so-called heroes just because they have these flashy quirks, or whatever. But I can surely help you. After all, I can surely give you a power even greater than a quirk. Even greater than..." As when he said that, something comes out of his back. It resembles some sort of weird-looking tentacles, with several of them seeming to resemble, centipede-like parts. What do I mean by this? Well, it resembles, the body of a centipede. As when he saw that, his face would start to pale, as he would say, "What are you?" As he would say this. "Oh, me? I guess you could say that I'm a..." But we basically move forward ahead, a few years later, as we go to a city. The city of Tokyo, currently being ravaged by several of these people with these similar powers as this man. The man known as Kaneki, or Reincarnation. It's been a long time since I actually watched, Tokyo Ghoul, because I recently watched it last time, but I sort of forgotten some of the characters' names, so I'm probably going to pronounce them wrong. Or at least somewhat wrong. Anyway, continue on. Kaneki was basically sitting on one of the towers of, Tokyo. Not really towers, but more like a building nearby, as he's activated his Rinkaku, as he would say this. "So, Izuku, did you get anything that you..." As he would say this. "Yeah." "Those bastards didn't even stand a chance," he would say, as all of his, Kagane are basically activated. What do I mean by this? Well, he has all 4 Kagane, which are his Rinkaku, which resembles, Hydra heads. And if you don't know what are, what specific Hydra heads, well, imagine the Hydra from, what is that called? Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I recently, watched, and some gameplay, because I never really got the game, because I'm too poor for that shit. I'm not really that good at, playing those types of games, but either way, just imagine them similar to that. Then there's his Ukaku, aka the freaking wings, aka, what I'm gonna call, just, I'm just gonna be calling them just like, regular old wings. Because, they're just basically wings. So, just imagine them just like, well, I don't really know how to describe it, but it's more like, I don't really know how to describe it. I'll just have to show you then, when I finally, show off, the design for Izuku's, design, basically. So, then we go to his Kaukaku, or just, the armor, or just the sword, or whatever you want to call it. So, while he's basically, holding the dead heads of those, people, he's basically holding them in his Kaukaku. And finally, there's his Bikaku, which is a tail, or more specifically, it resembles a scorpion-like tail. Sort of. I mean, it's more like starry, I guess you can say. It's more like has a much more futuristic aesthetic, sort of. But while he was basically holding the heads of those specific heroes, he would basically throw them to the ground, and these heads would be revealed. In this case, the heads of the speed hero known as Ida, aka, Ingenium, and the other being the hero Gravity, aka Uchako Uraka, as you would say this. Those so-called heroes, absolutely fake in my eyes. After saying that, he would say this. Well then, Mr. Izuku, mind telling me, is there anybody else that you killed? As you would say this. Oh yeah, I just recently killed the bastard that ruined my life. After saying that, he would say this. Oh, you mean the blonde bastard? Oh well. Anyway, so, does anybody else know about us, ghouls yet? As he would say this. No, not at all. And they didn't even make, those Queen K or whatever you want to call it. After saying that, he would say this. Yeah. But what about it? As he would say this. Well, I want to show you this. After grabbing a briefcase that he was carrying earlier, it would open up and reveal a Queen Key that he made. As he would say this. What? Did you? As he would say this. Don't worry. I didn't kill anybody for it. I just used my own. As after saying that, he would say this. But how? That's impossible. As he would say this. Not really impossible if you have super regeneration. Or in this case, my regeneration. After saying that, the Queen K would reveal itself. It would resemble some sort of axe with a opening mouthpiece, which resembles, one of those chain chomp things from, Mario. But when it opened up, it would basically open up similar to the, to the aliens from, Aliens or Aliens vs. Predator. Basically something of that sort. As it resembles the inner mouth kind of resembles some sort of like bird, or some sort of avian-like creature. After looking at it, he would say this. Well, that's quite interesting, said, Ren. For a second? Yeah, Ren Kaneki, I meant. So, while he was basically talking to Ren, he would see a few people basically fighting off the ghouls, as he would say this. Hey, Ren, as he would say this. What is it, Izuku? As he would say this. Let me have this fight for now. After all, you're quite tired, and you're starting to get into your old age. As he would say this. Very well then. And by the way, maybe next time try not to do anything to my daughter. After saying that, he would say this. It was just one time, I swear to God, he would say, as he would say this. Yeah, but try not to make her pregnant next time. As he would say this. Yeah, whatever, he would say with an angry tone. But after saying that, he would jump into action, activating his, using his Kaukaku to basically fly. While he was doing that, he would basically look at the ground, seeing a lot of people, more specifically heroes, trying to stop some of these, weird-looking quirk user, or what they call as super villains. Sort of. Because they think that it's probably some sort of like family type thing, or some sort of like, family-based, gang. Because when they thought of it, they thought it may be some sort of like, family-based, crime syndicate or something. So they decided to call their, ghoul-like powers, or ghoul, powers as quirks. And oh boy, let's just say they were completely wrong. And so, when Izuku saw them, he would jump into action, grabbing his scythe and basically, ripping through them instantly. Not really scythe, but I'm just gonna be calling it a scythe because originally I wanted it to be like a scythe. But at the time, I just thought, yeah, no more scythes. I'm not gonna do too many scythes anymore. Seriously, it sometimes gets a little bit tiring when I just make the same weapon all over again. So, yeah, I'm gonna be just gonna be calling it a sort of scythe. After grabbing his sort of scythe, he would basically rip apart one of the heroes which had a fire quirk, as he would say this. Pathetic. After saying that, he would start raising his scythe towards the man as it would open up and release the, second head, which would chomp into his face. After doing that, it would retract as some sort of syringe would appear, and it would inject something into, Izuku's arm. After saying that, he would say, "Oh boy, that power felt amazing." After saying that, Izuku would start activating its powers, or should I say, the powers of the person that he killed. Yes! Apparently this weapon can literally, get the DNA of that person and, give him that power. Oh boy, that definitely doesn't sound overpowered as hell. So, after raising his hand, it would start bursting into flames. Apparently that hero was a hero that had a fire quirk, and it's not really as powerful as like Endeavor's, but he can surely work with it. As after doing that, it would explode and burn everybody alive, as he would say this. That's not really bad. Maybe we should show everybody about it. Maybe even give some to my companions. After saying that, he would look towards a few other heroes, as he would say this. Did you, as he would say this. Well, yes, I sort of stole your friend's powers, but it's not really like that. It's more like I gained his powers by just injecting this lovely thing over here. Now, what quirks do you have? He would say, raising his, sort of scythe, as he would say this. You monster! As he would say this. Oh, don't lie to yourselves. Like, seriously, lying is pretty much a bad thing in my opinion. And trust me, I know about lies. And, by the way, calling me the villain? Don't tell me that you think that you're the heroes. Don't you think that you're the heroes? Like, seriously, you basically, worship the so-called hero commission when they're clearly the bad guys here. After saying that, they would say, as before they can say anything else, Izuku would jump in and would rip them apart instantly, and gaining their quirks, as he would say this. What quirks do you have? After saying that, he would start sensing the area around him, as he would say this. A sensory quirk. How interesting. But not really as useful as my super sense, or should I say my super smell. After smelling the area around him and using that quirk in conjunction, would start sensing a few people going towards the area. Or more specifically, going towards his area with the rest of the other ghouls, as one of them would say this. "Hey boss!" As one of them would say this. "Yeah, we're detecting a few people nearby." As Izuku would say this. "Let them come. I want to check out my brand new Queen K over here." After saying that, one of them would say this. "You mean you, as he would say this. Don't worry, I just used my own Kagane. And trust me, I didn't lose anything. Besides, I have super healing, so I can easily regrow them back. Maybe I should even give you my Queen K. Or at least copies of them." After saying that, they would say, "Surely, Master, you shouldn't do that. I mean, we're not even worthy of getting your abilities or your Queen K." As he would say this. "Oh, don't say things like that. After all, you are my family, after all." After saying that, the heroes would finally arrive, as these heroes were the hero Creati, aka Momo Yaoyorozu. Then there's Todoroki, aka Shoto Todoroki, aka, Mr. Frosty Face, or Frostburn. After looking at them, Izuku would say this. Quite interesting quirks you have there. I can surely get them from you." After saying that, he would basically charge towards Todoroki first, as Todoroki would say this. "You're not getting our quirks, you bastard!" After saying that, he would start creating frost blasts, or in this case, ice blasts at him, as he would slice through them with his Queen K, as he would say this. "You really think that could actually hurt me?" After saying that, he would basically summon in his, his Rinkaku, as his Rinkaku would start making a few fireballs, as these fireballs would shoot towards him as he would burn a part of his body, ripping his arms and legs off, as he would say this. "Shit! My arm!" my leg! After saying that, Kuredi would say this, Todoroki! After saying that, she would start, flying towards him with her jetpack on. As when she did that, Izuku would finally have his opportunity, and would activate his Quinke as it would rush towards her and would stab her right in the neck, getting her, quirk, and the syringe would basically appear and inject him with his, DNA, as he would say this, now let's try this out. After saying that, he would start memorizing all of the, things, more specifically the chemical structure and, I guess you could say the material structure, sort of. I don't really know what to call it, but the materials that are basically composing of his Quinke, as when he finally, imagined it, it would start, coming out of his body, as everybody nearby would start grabbing them. Mostly, the ghouls, aka his subordinates, as he would say this, Master, thank you for this lovely gift. They would say, as they would rush towards, the rest of the heroes that are coming nearby, as they're completely slaughtered. As when they, use the sort of ability that Izuku has for his Quinke, well, let's just say their DNA started fusing with some of the, quirk users. Let me show you a little bit of their biology in this universe. Apparently, they're basically quirkless. They can't even use any quirks, and so their quirk gene in this era is sort of, let's just say, not really good. And they're so dormant to the point that even if they, procreated, their child would probably have a, Kagane instead of a quirk, with a human per se. So, because of this, let's just say when they finally got in their, sort of quirk, their, quirk gene would start, emerging as they would start using their abilities, specifically the hero's abilities. Like, for example, one of them would start using, the powers of Outlet. I can't remember the actual hero name of Kaminari, but Kaminari was there, and when he saw his quirk being used by another person, well, he was completely fucked, because apparently this guy doesn't really have the side effects of Kaminari's quirk, aka dumbness, after using using his quirk. And because of that, well, let's just say he's gone bye-bye. So, after doing that, the rest of the, army of ghouls would start charging in and would basically start slamming people into the ground and would start ripping people apart instantly. As, after a while of fighting, Izuku would just be standing over the sort of, broken body of Shota Todoroki, as Shota would say this, why are you doing this? I mean, why? And you're half ghoul. I mean, as he would say this, don't tell me things that I already don't know. I've already been told. The reason why I fight is because of this stupid society. This society that always thinks about stupid little quirks. No matter how practical your quirk is and how powerful it is, it only comes up with one thing. Flashiness. And not only that, the quirkless are considered as nothing more than weak people, and should just be fucking erased. That is why I killed Bakugo. That is why I killed them. It's because of their ignorance, their absolute lunacy. The reason why I killed them is because of their stupidity. I mean, their stupidity. Their stupidity of not believing in quirkless people, just like me. And because of that, it became all of your downfalls. Now, prepare. As, after stealing his quirk, sort of, he would start raising his hand as he would say this, Frost Bloom. As, after saying that, a large flower made out of ice would appear and stab into, Todoroki. Because this flower is resembling of a, it kind of resembles a rose. And the thorns made out of ice would stab through him and killing him right on the spot. After doing that, he would say, I've been looking for a sack for a while now. After saying that, he would basically grab one of his arms and would start ripping it from his body, as he would start chowing down, with his mask still intact. And if you're wondering, no, I didn't really make the mask because at the time I was too lazy, and also At the time, I was busy with assignments and also my freaking exam. Let's just say I hate school right now. So, after a while basically eating his arm, he would notice a person basically coming up behind him, thanks to the help of his, enhanced, ghoul-like senses, and also his, his brand newly acquired, quirk. In this case, the sensory quirk. As when he felt them, he would basically jump out of the way as he would see the person right behind him. In this case, the person was a man with blondish hair and cartoony-like eyes. Or sort of normal in their case. I mean, it's sort of normal in their word, but to me, it looks a bit weird in my opinion. He seems to be wearing some sort of heroic-like suit with the number 1000 or 1,000,000 on his, chest. As he also has a cape and a sort of angry expression, as Izuku would say this. La Million, otherwise known as Mirio Togata. After saying that, he would say this. Why are you doing this? As he would say this. Well, isn't that fucking obvious? I'm just gonna be tearing this stupid society down and replacing it with a new one. A new one that actually respects the quirkless, unlike your society. As after saying that, he would say this. I'm not letting you do that. I mean, this is crazy. This is absolute. As he would say this. What? Sanity? No. This is obviously the true outcome of this world. A world filled with ignorant people just think that us quirkless people are nothing more than weak trash. No longer will be forgotten. No longer that we will be used as nothing more than tools for a higher being like you. We're done. We're gonna be tearing down your pedestal of this so-called society. And we'll be replacing it with a new one. A new one where ghouls and the quirkless can live together. And you, people, will be serving your punishment. I am your executioner, the judge and the jury. And I shall make you pay with your lives. After saying that, he would jump towards him, and he would basically get stabbed. Not by some sort of knife, but something through the head. It felt like a quinque. As he would look behind him, and seeing that his head is starting to sort of regenerate, as he would look towards the person that basically shot him, this person was laying a gaunt. As he would say this. How the hell did you get the quinque? After saying that, he would say this. Well, you have to do some pretty horrible things to one of your subordinates. But it's for the greater good. Now, just surrender. And we'll just, as he would say this, I won't surrender. I will not let my damn dream break. I won't let my damn dream break into tiny pieces like the ones that I wanted. Like the ones that I used to had. The ones that I used to have back when I wanted to become a hero. I won't let you ruin this for me, Mirio. As after saying that, he would charge towards him, as before he can say anything else. Kaboom! His heart was shot open, as he would fall to the ground. His heart was shot open because of the Kagane that Lady Nagant used. As Mirio would say this, I told you to just surrender, but it seems that your heart is fully set on something horrible. As Izuku would say this, you bastard. As before he can say anything else, Mirio would just look at him with pity as he would say this. I'm sorry for your circumstances, but because of this, because of all you've done, you're gonna make a horrible era of chaos and despair. But not only that, a world where the ignorant and the arrogant can flourish, like you. After saying that, he would say this, arrogant? But when he said that, Mirio would be taken aback as he would say this, arrogant. Says the guys who literally turned us into this. The people that literally turned us into these monsters. You call us, call us, I meant. As he would start spouting how, how the society basically turned him into this. Turned him into what he is today. Turning him into a monster, or a quote-unquote monster. Saying that because of quirks, we turn people into this thing. And when he was about to die, he would start almost falling to the ground, as Lena Gaunt and Miryu would start to leave. And all of you are wondering, no, Lena Gaunt is no longer working with the League of Villains. In fact, instead of, actually, how do I say this? Actually, working with the villains, instead, she never really got, let's just say, excommunicated. And so, Izuku was bleeding out on the ground, as he would grab his, what do you actually call it again? His microphone from his, from his sort of chest, as you would say this. Ren. As Ren would say this. What is it, Izuku? Are you okay? As Izuku would say this. Wait for a sec. Tell Rukia that I couldn't see my child. As when Rin heard this, he would say, "What did you do? Are you okay?" As Izuku would say this. Let's just say I sort of gotten cocky, and I'm paying for the consequences of it. Just tell her to keep our child safe. And thanks, Dad. After saying this, he would hang up, as he would accept his fate. Death. And so, he would drift off into his new life. Or should I say, the world between his new life. So, when he opened his eyes, he would see that he's in some sort of dark void. As in front of him, he would see a person with, well, let's just say some interesting features. For one, he's on a throne. More specifically, a marble throne. As in, white marble. I mean, white marble. As in, the stuff that the Greeks used to have. Not only that, he also seems to have, a little bit of an interesting design, to say the least. He has antlers. But, sort of. He has, one antler on one head, and also, a sort of horn on the other. Almost resembling a demon. But there's also angel sort of wings? Sort of. He literally has wings that, start off as almost demonic, but soon transition into almost angelic-like wings. He also seems to be wearing a white suit with a golden bow tie, and right beside him was a scythe. But the scythe almost seems a little bit heavenly, with, some sort of, weird-looking, angel-like wing on the scythe's, blade, or at least at the end of the scythe-like blade. Not really literally at the end where the sharp part really ends on, but more like behind it. As he would say this. "Ah, it's nice to meet you. So, you must be Izuku Midoriya, right?" As he would say this. He was asking. As he would say this. "Oh, call me Jack. Jack, Superbia. And I'm the new god here." As he would say this. "Excuse me. God? As in that god?" As he would say this. "Yep, and I recently saw your little last fight with the #1 hero, aka Miro Togata. It was quite interesting in my opinion, but I really wanted to say this, to say the least. How your life is that seriously bad. I mean, I've seen much more terrible lives, but still." As he would say this. So, may I ask you this? Why am I here?" As he would say this. "Oh, isn't that obvious? I want you to come back to, to the living world. In this case, I want you to go to a different world so you can have a, somewhat normal life." after hearing this, he would say, "Excuse me, what? What are you even saying?" As he would say this. "Well, to be more precise, I'm going to be bringing you to a different world. Or in this case, you're going to be staying in a new world. Where, instead of quirks, instead of, ghouls, there are demons. Angels and fallen angels, but also other pantheons. And they probably don't know me because I'm basically, a new god. A new god beyond gods. Or at least, my predecessors', creations. Or in this case, these so-called other gods." As he would say this. That's a bit confusing, but either way... Wait, you're telling me that you're going to reincarnate me? Reincarnate me? As he would say this. "Whoop-de-doo, my boy." "Whoop-de-doo, my boy," he would say. "So, I'm going to be reincarnating you with your ghoul-like powers," he would say. As when Izuku was, hearing that, he would say, but what if I... As he would say this. "Oh, don't worry, I can probably, change up your powers. More specifically, I can make you stop eating, human flesh. And in fact, allowing you to eat normal food again. Including your favorite, tonkatsu, right?" As he would say this. "Well, actually, I've been wondering about eating tonkatsu for a while now. Even though I'm a ghoul, I really want to eat it again. Actually, wait, how do you even do that? How do you... how?" As he would say this. "Well, ever since my, the old god, aka my predecessor, died, I became the new god ever since I died. During a war, let's just say that." As he would say this. "Okay, I'm not even gonna ask that. Either way, mind telling me why?" As he would say this. "Well, ever since I saw your life, I started becoming a little bit, biased towards you. So I decided to reincarnate you, and because, why the fuck not?" As he would say this. "I see. Thanks, I guess." After saying this, he would say, "Oh, you're welcome. And by the way, I promise you, you're definitely gonna have a doozy of a new life." As he would say this. "What do you mean by that?" As he would say this. "Oh, don't mind it." He would basically say under his breath. Not really under his breath, but more like in a cough-like voice. As he would say, "Excuse me, what?" As he would say this. "Oh, nothing." Anyway, go get reincarnated. As after saying that, a door would appear. As this door would resemble some sort of gate. More specifically, just imagine, a similar door to, Persona 5's, Velvet Room type door. As when it appeared, Izuku would say this. "So, do I just need to go in, or..." As he would say this. "Yeah, you should probably get in. Now, see ya," he would say. As he would say this. Fine then." And so, he would start going into the large-looking door, as the door would disappear. As he would say this. I can't wait for him to experience all of the luxuries of that new world. Especially with the no quirks part. But there's probably going to be some interesting abilities for him. Especially with his sacred gear. That I specially made for him, by the way, he would basically say with a happy tone. As when he said that, a person would come out, as this person would be some sort of angel-like figure, with multiple eyes around his body, as he would say this. Sir, do you really need to do this? I mean, he's probably overpowered enough, especially with his ability to steal the abilities of others. Sort of, as in getting the abilities of others by using his Quinke. As he would say this. "Oh, it will be fine. Trust me, that new power of his, aka his sacred gear, is certainly going to be interesting, to say the least. If he unlocks it." As he would say this. Sure. But it's certainly going to be disastrous." As he would say this. "It will be fine." After saying that, we basically pan out of this, room, and we basically end off the episode right there. So, this is going to be the end of this episode. And so, I hope you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!